Pierce Dashers.
Hey, it's Ben here from the archive, and the
International Pumper.
And so it's
International Pumper.
by request time. Now, I kind of fudged it, admittedly, so the one that got the most votes was Format Wars, but this is obviously Format Wars Volume 2. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One being that even though I'm talking over it, there's still all those movie clips in the original Format Wars, so I'm trying to cut down on copyright issues. But also there's just
Blazing Blitz.
This one that kind of crawl up my ass. So I do intend to try and discuss the original Format Wars a bit here, but let's start with Format Wars Volume 2 here. And
GMC Jimmy.
Episodes that I wanted to make for quite a while, but it was just lack of footage, and that's something that happens quite a bit with Archive. So, you know, I can get tons of requests for it, but I'm not going to do it if I don't have the means to. I mean, that would be kind of pointless. So, once I got some TV2000 footage together and some Ampex 1-inch footage,
Fire Engine,
then I decided to go ahead with it. This little opening, I think I could have done better. I wanted the picture to get progressively worse as it's going along, as I'm touting how hi-fi, high-def Archive is, and I think I could have made it a little more radical. But anyway, this
International Pumper
is from Sony CV2000. This was recorded just before the end of 1966. I think it was December 30th. The Milton Berle Show with Mickey Rooney, and it was, as far as I know, it is the oldest amateur off-air footage.
All these are fire trucks. Same one. It's a fire. It says Fire Engine. That's all it says.
For a while, I thought it was some footage from 1971, which you'll see a little later, which was caught on presumably Ampex 1-inch. And in the name of full disclosure, that
Fire Engine
1-inch footage. So there's the commercial with Rosemary Clooney in there. It's actually a VHS dub from, I believe, the late 80s, as is this Banjo in the Hollow footage, which there aren't that many working CV2000s out there, but at least some people had the foresight to try and dub it over just to something in years past. So that's how that survives. And of course, that clip is a prime example of why it needed tracking control on the CV2000. Now, as far as this episode is concerned, like I was saying, there is one thing about this episode that just annoys the hell out of me, and I didn't catch it until a little while after it came out. And it's when I'm discussing the Telefunken Ted, which is German, and
these are both ambulances.
I had it in my mind the Deutschmark, German mark. And of course, being a prairie boy, a lot of people, like in my family, don't say Deutsch, they say Dutch. And so I had the word Dutch stuck in my mind. So when it came time to do the little stats slide for it, like an idiot, I wrote Dutch as opposed to German or German mark or something. So that's always really irritated me, and I've long had an explanation on the YouTube page for it, and an annotation.
Sorry, we're almost done almost.
I still get complaints. In fact, just as recently as just a couple of weeks or so before cutting this commentary, I still get complaints.
2009 Ford ambulance.
Just screaming me. Usually somebody from Germany or from Holland that just suddenly hates my guts. Even though I've tried to explain it, and of course you can't really have the annotations on the app.
Same thing.
So,
2009 Ford ambulance.
like
That's cool looking though.
App. So unfortunately I can't get to go through and read this entire episode. Just to change one word would be kind of pointless.
Here's Quantum, 30-foot ladder.
It's just, I really try to do my best when I make archives, but occasionally, sometimes I screw up, and that may be the one that just irritates me the most. And I'm sure, even after this, I'm sure I'll still be getting the occasional angry email, and I'm sure if you go through the YouTube comments on the original version of this video, there's probably still a few people that are upset about my saying Dutch.
Fire engine.
Apologize. I've really done what I can, short of going back and redoing this episode 500. These discs were one. So another thing that annoys me about this particular
Fire
episode
alarm.
is that I think I kind of just blazed through it a little.
That's what it's called, fire alarm.
I was kind of at the mercy of the relatively small amounts of footage that I was able to find through the 2000 Ampex 1-inch telephone antenna and so on. But looking back at it, I think I went just a little too fast. Maybe
Ford
I was concerned about maybe using a little too
Ford 550 Super Duty.
but I kind of feel like I didn't really get the point across as well as I should have. And I definitely should have.
Ford Transit Van.
So, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago about full disclosure that some of that stuff was actually from a subsequent dub. But I guess they look close enough as far as I can tell that
Ford 350 Super Duty.
feel for what the quality was.
Wow, it's right late already. Wow. Sorry, it's already.
Format, nation. Of course, the paper thin. Okay, so switching gears here, let's get into what everybody really wants to hear about the original Format Wars episode. And that was
Fire engine.
pretty much right out of the gate, and it was something that I hadn't even entertained the notion of, because when I came up with the idea of the archive, I was thinking very much cultural refuse in the more
Those are my cars.
your sense,
Yeah.
or minutia that maybe you don't really think about,
Fire truck.
like broadcast quirks, emergency broadcast, stuff like that. So when I was getting the idea for Format Wars from viewers, even that early on, I was just kind of going,
Stand pissed and shit.
Is
Grandpa
really
was pissed
an
and crap.
oddity in any way? Because, like, for example, VHS, as far as I'm concerned, even now, 2014,
4x4 fire engine.
VHS is still a very viable format. You can still go down to Target or Walgreens or whatever here in the States, and you can
Ford Crown Victoria,
buy
96.
blank VHS tapes. You can still get, machines are plentiful. You might still be able to buy some new ones. I haven't really looked for one. I'm pretty happy with the one I
Hazard
have.
Squad.
But you can walk into any thrift store, charity shop in America and find one, and I think it's that way in a very good
Pickup truck.
world. So in my mind, there's nothing oddity about
1989 Jeep Wrangler.
refuse. But then I
Orchard.
just started
Oh, sorry.
thinking about some
Jeep
of the
Cherokee,
stuff
sorry.
that wasn't making
98.
DVD. And of course, I had never heard of the Found Footage Festival quite yet, so they were light years ahead of me on realizing
Ford
just
Falcon.
the value of this
Police-
and just how often
Fire chief's car.
this stuff could be. And so, with just the idea in mind that some of this stuff wasn't coming out on DVD, and you know, I already had a CED player, and I was looking at it, and I went, well, yeah, maybe. But then there was the problem of, do I have a means of transferring this, a good means? I mean, what I do even now is far from professional. I think there's a whole lot of real preservationists out there that would just laugh at my efforts. But
What?
as far as I'm as far as
Engine
I'm
18.
concerned, I needed a method that
Water pumper.
accurate,
Water pumper.
as accurate as I could get.
2003.
And I had that camcorder that I used to use in season 1, the old, very much Carpet Vision one.
Ford F-100 panel delivery van, 1955.
I knew I could go out to the TV. What I did not know was that I could switch the direction. And that camcorder was actually a hand-me-down from my parents. My parents bought that thing new
Jeep.
sometime in the early 2000s, and they had no use for it. I think they were getting ready to throw it out, and I took it because I didn't really have any means of filming anything, even though this was before archives. I didn't want to see that thing
Fire
go
truck.
in the trash. I mean, I remember when we first got it.
Chevy Suburban.
It cost like $1,000, and I just couldn't bear to see something like that go in the trash. And it's a good thing it didn't, because once I figured out I could switch the direction on it, then it opened up the ability to do something like Format Wars, and it's opened up the doors so much within Oddity Archive are that you could film your home movies on. So when I finally got
Fire truck.
knowing that I was going to do Format Wars, it admittedly was kind of an excuse consciously to show off my collection as of 2012.
Super Duty.
But the more I got into it and the more I got into thinking about the pros and cons of each format, I realized that, yeah, I can show off a little bit, but the real heart of this is going to be trying to highlight the best and worst of each format. And another shortcoming of that, and probably what annoys me most about the Format Wars episode, the original one, is the CED footage, because I only have a mono CED player and it's just plain old coax. I don't think I mentioned it in the episode, although I know I've discussed it publicly since then. So, I mean, even now I'm still on the lookout for a stereo CED player that works, that isn't $300-400. So I've never stopped looking, but it's something that's kind
Flame
of
Assistant Fire Truck.
So like when I'm trying to show the best in CED, like as far as I was concerned, the best one I had was the Linda Ronstadt concert that I had.
97 Chevy Tahoe.
Stereo sound, and the disc itself does, but I'm not getting that from just a plain old coax. And I'm just not a big fan of using coax stuff when I'm trying to capture footage. It's just the quality never seems to come out right. I'm much more of a composite.
97 Chevy Tahoe.
And
Almost done, baby.
I can do S-Video too, but I don't have anything that operates on S-Video, not even my Laserdisc player. Now, getting back to CEDs,
Ford truck.
Highlighting the worst was the Three Stooges disc, which is very much my
1987
disc, and
Chevy Transport Bus.
I do very much. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't, but I do. And so I even filmed a separate footage of it with the guts of the CED.
87.
Just so I could have something to show there.
87 Chevy Capri.
I screwed up the disc to the point where it was just total trash. No big deal. I could still hang on to at least the shell for the artwork, because I think it has nice artwork. But it did a good job of showcasing the worst in the format, and then that goes over to Laserdisc. Like I have a few
1981 Mac Ariel.
settle for
Sorry.
what was the